it is the middle of February and I got my tomato seeds sown. I was able to narrow it down to just under 30 varieties from my seed collection. So I thought I would discuss which varieties I chose and some of the reasons why I chose those varieties, as well as mention some of the varieties that didn't make the cut. And maybe if you were on the fence about any of the same varieties, it'll help you make your decision for your tomato lineup this year. But first, here is my arrow garden where I have sown my tomato seeds. I like to make a little chart showing the locations of where each specific seed is, just so I know what's what. Some people will put masking tape right next to each sponge, but I always end up spilling water whenever I fill up the water reservoir, and then the marker ends up bleeding, so I just prefer my little external chart. And I've chosen a couple of dwarf or micro varieties to grow in containers because I know I can't fit all of the plants that I want to grow in my raised beds without crowding all the plants out. And I also wanted to kind of test out some of these varieties to see what might be worth growing in the winters indoors. I grew Patio Choice Yellow last year and I liked it, so I'm doing it again. Then I'm trying the green zebra tomato. I tried growing it last year, but I got seeds from a very unreputable company, and it ended up being an aroma tomato, so I got better seeds for this year. Then I'm also trying Fuzzy Wuzzy and Sweet Splash Electra. Fuzzy Wuzzy does have fuzzy leaves. I just did not have it in a great location, so my yield was very, very low. And then the Sweet Splash Electra has variegated leaves, and I love anything variegated. I'm also trying this variety. I can't quite pronounce the name, so let's try this. Fairdow Kofi. I'm probably still mispronouncing it, but it's closer than what I initially thought it would be. So I've just heard good things about this variety, so that's why I decided to give it a try. So for cherry tomatoes, I am trying some new varieties this year. These two, the blueberries and the Isis candy cherry, are new for me. Tropical Sunset I grew last year and I really liked the flavor. It was really nice and fruity. This is Blonde Kopchen tomato. I bought a seed start a couple years ago and I've been saving the seeds. It translates to little blonde girl in German, and I really like the flavor. They're just nice little yellow tomatoes. Honey Drop tomato is a repeat. This was one of my earlier tomatoes to make it to maturity. Really prolific and sweet. Dancing with Smurfs. If you are a South Park fan, you'll get the reference. I bought these just solely for the novelty of the name, just because I thought it was funny. I tried growing these last year, but it was in a spot that didn't get enough sun, so I didn't really get any fruit off of it. So I'm giving it another go. Gobstopper tomato. Oh, this one it was interesting. It had a nice, unique flavor to it, and it's kind of like a greener tomato. So I kind of like it for its unique flavor and look. It's kind of nice to have things that are just different than your traditional red tomatoes, although there's nothing wrong with them, but I just kind of, like to have different colors of things. Black cherry tomato. This one, really good. It's just, I can't even really describe the flavor. It's not super acidic, but it's really tasty. I definitely recommend this one. And yellow pear, I am growing again. I'm not in love with the flavor. There's nothing wrong with the flavor. It tastes fine. It's just kind of like a classic tomato flavor, but to me it's not super unique. But I still choose to grow it because of how prolific it is, because it makes it good for freezing or for baking and cooking. So that way I don't have to sacrifice a tastier tomato that I would rather enjoy on its own, because when you cook or bake with it, it changes the flavor of it, obviously. So it's kind of just like a basic tomato. It's a filler tomato for me, essentially. This is another one that was a determinate variety, but I'm going to grow this in my raised bed. It's called the Mini Bell, and it grows about, I think my plants got up to about 2 feet, and pretty prolific, nice flavor, and in my experience, they didn't really split, so that's good for a cherry tomato. So for my larger beefsteak type tomatoes, I am doing Berkeley tie-dye green. I don't like to grow too many of these because I end up getting a lot that are cat facing, and cat facing are the ones where if you flip it over in the bottom, it's got like some scarring on the bottom, and you get cracks, and insects can kind of go in there and make it yucky, and a lot of the times, you know, you'll find some mold in between the cracks. So I tried to not grow too many that grow like this, but I really did like the flavor of the Berkeley tie-dye green, so that's a repeat for sure. And then last year, this was part of Seedgate, where the seeds that were inside the packets did not match the front of the packet. So this was supposed to be yellow stuffer, but I contacted this company and showed them pictures of what came out of these seeds, and they said it was probably golden nugget. I ended up actually really liking the golden nugget, so I'm going to be growing these again. They did send me new seeds for this yellow stuffer, so I will also be growing that, trying that again with fresh seeds. This one I love. The color is beautiful. I took French in high school. I cannot pronounce this. I always have trouble with it. You know what? I'm going to get the pronunciation, the proper pronunciation for you. Okay, so anyways, I like this tomato. It's so pretty. It's purple, it's yellow, and it's got really great flavor, really nice and mild. And then I got these from a friend, Blue Beauty. Super, super good. Just really sweet and fruity flavor. And then similarly, let's see, I've got Black Beauty. And oh, this one, it's a very special tomato. It just tastes really good. I can't even describe it. And I feel like it's kind of lower on the acid scale. Thorburns Terracotta. This one has a nice mild flavor. My boyfriend likes this one, so I'm going to grow it for him. And then I've got a couple of other newer varieties that I haven't tried. Pink Oxheart, and then Ukrainian Purple, Chocolate Stripes. This one is a repeat from last year, Blush. It's kind of like a smaller Roma-ish tomato. I liked its flavor. It's got a really nice look to it too. Tigerella, I like this one a lot, so I'm growing it again. Tigerella, they say that it's good for colder climates. I'm in California, so I don't really need a colder climate tomato, but sometimes we do have unusually cold summers, or at least colder starts to summer sometimes. So that's why I initially purchased this pack of seeds, because I wanted to just have a tomato that might be able to withstand some cold, just because, like I said, sometimes the start of our summers are a little chilly. Here's the new seeds of the yellow stuffer. And then I am growing this tomato as well. Again, I took French in high school and did not retain any of the proper pronunciations. So let me get the proper pronunciation for you on this one.
Ananas noir.
And then I've got Mr. Stripey tomato. This one's really good. I think I got like about a 2-pounder last year. So not like super, super huge. I've seen some people get 5 pounds and more off of Mr. Stripey. But it's got really nice flavor. So that's why I'm growing that. And then Brad's Atomic Grape. I tried growing this last year, but I just couldn't get a seedling to make it to transplant. They just kept fizzling out. Like they would sprout and they just kept fizzling out. So I'm going to try these again, but I have lowered my expectations. And then I'm trying Giant Crimson tomato again, but this will be the last time that I try it. If I don't have good luck with it this year, then I will not be growing it next year. This is the one where Luke from M.I. Gardener acquired like these 80 or 90-year-old seeds, and he got some to germinate, and then he grew a bunch of these tomatoes, saved the seeds, and sold them. So it was basically an extinct tomato, but he brought it back. So I did grow them last year and in the year before, but the first year that I tried growing it, I couldn't get it to germinate. And then last year I got it to germinate, and I did get a couple of tomatoes off of it, but they were really small. They were not giant. They were like mini crimson tomatoes. My dad did grow some of these too, and he kind of had the same results. So I'm not quite sure about these, but I did like the flavor, and I do like the story behind it. All right, so now I'm going to talk about which varieties I am not going to be growing again. First off is the spoon tomato. I did not care for this at all. The flavor is really bland. The tomatoes are a pain to harvest because of how small they are, and they crack and split so easily. It just really was not worth it to me. It just felt like another novelty variety of tomato. Next is the white tomasolol. I really do like this variety. It's just I felt like a lot of them ended up being cat-faced more often than not. And my dad also grows this variety, and he has better luck with them, so I'm going to leave it up to him to grow it this year. Queen of the Night tomato, I did not care for. It looks really pretty, but it tasted really mealy and bland, and it just really left a lot to be desired. So this one is a no-go for me. And I'm not growing these three this year, the Tiny Tim, the Mexico Midget, or the 42-day tomato. I liked all three of these, but they are very similar to the Mini Bell, which I am going to be growing this year. I'm just not growing them this year just because I wanted to allocate more room for some of the newer varieties that I wanted to try this year, and they're all pretty similar to each other, so they're not going to make it in the lineup for this year. And then another one that did not make it into the lineup this year is the black strawberry tomato. I liked it. I think it has a really unique look to it. It's really pretty, and then when you take it off of the stem, it kind of has like a star on the top. Looks aside, I personally like the flavor of it. I know that a lot of people are divided on their opinions when it comes to this particular variety. It's one of those for me, like, I could take it or leave it. And this year, just because I have too many tomatoes in my lineup already, this one I will not be growing this year. If for some reason one of the newer varieties that I'm trying doesn't work out, whether it's due to poor germination or just whatever reason, I might throw this into the lineup, but for now it's not going to make it. So as you can see, I do have a lot of different tomato seeds. There's probably even more that I did not even look at this year. So definitely don't go buying every seed variety that you see. But if you have a favorite tomato variety that I didn't mention in this video, let me know what it is in the comments. I'm always curious to know what people's favorite varieties are. Thanks for watching.